Afternoon, y'all. Oh God, today was, I don't know, I think it's the air. Because the job was not that hard. It was the air. Anyway, today was actually a pretty easy day. The hours kind of sucked. I went in at midnight. I just got home. I literally just got home. I didn't even put the beers in the fridge. I opened one. And I started watching Jacob Whalen. If you've not seen him, he is a older millennial age group who has lived a very frugal lifestyle but lives a very nice lifestyle, and he is retired at 40. He is single, and now he talks about life. And the last video he did, basically it's saying, I quit my job, now I don't know who I am. I can resonate with that completely. Absolutely. Leaving the military. That whole concept of, I just quit my job and I don't know who I am. When I moved duty stations, I could resonate with that. See, when I was at the one duty station, I had responsibilities coming out my asshole. I mean, I was this, that, and I owned that. And I had purpose. I felt that it gave me purpose. And then I moved to Germany, and I was just another number on the roster. And my knowledge, my skills, my, prior service education, all of that, they didn't give a shit about it. They didn't care how smart I was. They didn't care how competent I was. I was just another number until somebody came in, took charge, figured out what my worth was, and decided to give me a job. I got so annoyed with my platoon sergeant, who consequently is that much of a dickhead that he ended up getting prosecuted and spending time in Leavenworth right before I left. Not on my accord. It wasn't me. But I'm sitting there trying to figure out why the defense counsel had called me in to ask me questions. I was like, I am the wrong fucking person to be talking to. I said, you're trying to build a character profile? Here, let me give you the character profile of this asshat that you're representing. Good luck. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. And I'm fucking out of here in like a year and a half anyway. I don't care what you do with him. But while he was my platoon sergeant at one point, I was so fucking annoyed with this guy. It's like juvenile fucking delinquent mentality is what he had. I basically pulled an open door with the first sergeant. I said, I cannot work under that. Give me a fucking purpose. I work great in supply. I know how to do logistics. Used to do that as a civilian. Know it being in the arms room. Yeah. He's like, do you want to go back in the arms room? Fuck no. Not here. Not in this establishment. Put me in a combat arms unit? Yeah, I'll go back in there. This place is a fucking joke. He knew I was so disgusted with the whole element in Germany. This first, I made it fucking known. I was like, yeah, this is a sham station, and y'all trying to be gung-ho, and it's pathetic. Honest and truly, it's fucking pathetic. I said, and if you really want to know if my opinion is valid, you can ask this person. I was stationed with him. And you can ask this person. She was at Fort Hood also. And yeah, we ain't happy here. Just saying. So he moved me in with the supply guy to help him unfuck the change of command inventory because it was jacked the fuck up bad. Anyway, but I had purpose. I complained. I got out from underneath this shitbag of a fucking NCO and found purpose. Yeah, forced myself into it, but yeah, I had all the programs on my computer. I could just whip this shit up. Boom. I had the TMs and everything. Anyway, the point this guy was making is whenever you meet anybody new, the first thing they ask you is, what do you do? Not, what kind of movies do you like? What, if you were to have an empty room, how would you decorate it? Are you into that kind of thing? Nope. What do you do? And that automatically, and I can totally understand this guy's reason why he did this talk. Because I was like, I got into 5 minutes of it and I was like, yep, I'm inspired. Let's go with it. So, what do you do? Like, my mom was a nurse. My sister codes for logistics, efficiency, and some other fucking wacky, highly inflated narcissistic job that she earns multiple six figures a year. Anyway, and thinks that she walks on fucking water, and yeah, it's like, yeah, the higher you go, the harder the landing. Just saying. Anyway, my other sister, she worked in transportation. She had an amazing job. She was a project manager for overseas utility type of thing. So like big, huge power plant establishments in Iraq. She coordinated that through General Electric. Yeah. And then contracted General Dynamics and whoever else that was involved in the, the movement of this machinery and whatnot. Yeah, that's what she did. Me, I kept inventory to make sure the semi-automatic weapons didn't end up on the fucking street. Yeah, I had a lot of them. God, I don't know where that NCOER is. I probably got a copy of it somewhere in my email. Anyway. So, any case, yeah. Who are you outside of your occupation? Does anybody know? I know. I know who I am outside of my occupation. I'm a polymath. I'm not as good as Michelangelo, or Leonardo da Vinci, but I am a polymath. I am well versed in a lot of different areas, and there's only like 3 areas that I'm really not proficient in, or one that I haven't been taught well enough, and it is a desire. And that's welding. There's very little that I can't do. So, I can't water ski. I can't do a back handspring. And no-handed somersault. There's that. I know how to braze weld, but I don't know how to arc weld. I know how to plumb. I know how to do electrician work. Yeah, I know how to wire circuits, and I wired my tiny house, plumbed my tiny house. But I am not competent enough to fix my own washing machine. Or stove. Or refrigerator. I can do my own oil changes. I know how to change tires on my truck. I don't have the proper equipment to change tire on my motorcycle. Well, actually I do. I think I still have that jack out there. But that would be very tricky and dangerous. I would just call somebody and be like, I need you to get this up on a thing, get it to them and let them do it. That kind of. Anyway. I'm very well versed in a lot of different things, but I'm not proficient at anything, any one thing. Not even proficient at the job that I do here now. But I know a lot about it. I can talk about it for days. I love my job. I love it, love it, love it. There's times where, yeah, I sit there and think about it. It's like, yeah, I am kind of narcissistic. In the fact that when a contractor or a finisher come up and they're like, hey, where you been? We love you. Where you been? Yay, Dreads is here. Yeah, kind of gives me a little bit of an ego boost. I'm going to fucking admit it. Yeah, I like it when they are glad to fucking see me. Pump operators, when they come up to me like, oh, where were you yesterday? These son of a bitches were fucking my shit all up, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I've gotten that too. He's like, I know, it was my weekend off. Well, damn, you need to work every Saturday because I needed you here last weekend. You know, I've gotten that. Now, are they praising me because I'm cute? Or are they praising me because I actually know what the fuck I'm doing? I actually held a friggin' American Bulldog puppy on my lap one day and poured into a pump because the finisher had this little, man, that dog was no bigger than this fucking, head to tail, as long as this paper towel roll. I held that little squirt on my lap the whole time. I just sat there at that pump, and she was the sweetest little thing. Yeah. I can babysit puppies and pour concrete at the same time. And not drip any on the ground. And the dude come over to me and said, man, I wish they all poured like you. I was like, I just set the bowl. I just set it at a certain speed. That way it doesn't get away from me. You know, if I need to give it a bump, I can gas it. If you chug at the same pace that I can get it, oh yeah, it's clean. But yeah, she's a beautiful dog now. My God, she's huge. I saw her. God. If he still got her, she's probably 3 years old now. She was big. At a year and a half. I was like, my goodness, you have grown. And he just started laughing. He goes, she ain't gonna fit in the cab of your truck now. Fuck no, she ain't. My God. And as soon as she heard my voice, her tail was just a fucking wagon. I was like, oh, beautiful. And I got licked. But it was a great day. I was so glad to see that dog. But yeah, he takes her everywhere with him. One of the finishers. So, anyway. Yeah, who are you outside of your occupation? I am a mother. I am a grandmother. I am a polymath. I'm a pretty damn good cook. I am not a fucking housekeeper. I'm very ADHD. I'm very neurodivergent. I have the heart of gold. I wear it on my sleeve. I fall in love very easily. And if somebody needs help, I will give the shirt off my back for them. I can't tell you, and I don't even want to brag about it because it's meaningless. But has anybody ever seen somebody out in, like, not in the city elements, but like out in rural elements, sitting on the edge of a fucking highway with a sign? Yeah, I ran across that one time. I was way back in the fucking day. I had my Grand Am back then, and I was heading north from Post to go see my mom and dad, and I was on what was I 60? It wasn't 65. I think it was 231, because I was in Alabama then, and there was this elderly man, and he was in rags, and I got off the highway just to get fuel, and he was parked. He was perched right there at the exit ramp. And I went up, got fuel, bought a muffin and a coffee. Put all the fixings for the coffee because everybody likes their coffee different. And my coffee pot on. And put money in the little paper bag thing. You know. And I think I got a breakfast sandwich or something to go with it. And it was right before Christmas. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I left my coffee pot on all fucking way. Anyway. But yeah, that was, yeah, that one, I saw him and I was like, I started crying. I was like, oh my God, he's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. He must be living out in like, and it wasn't in the city. It wasn't even right outside the city. It was somewhere like sticks between cities. It's like, my God, you must have walked miles to get here. Anyway, yeah, my heart broke on that one. And then, shit, I didn't have anything. I was living in my fucking car, and I was driving downtown Denver. And there is a veteran out there. He looked horrifying. But he didn't look drugged out. He just looked horrifying. And shit, I didn't have fucking money for me. I just filled up my fuel tank because I was living in my car at the time. And he had a sign out or whatever. And I can't remember. It was like, you know, Colfax and something else. And I gave him my last $5 fucking. And then I went and found the light rail station and crashed out for a few hours and get ready to go into work. There was one elderly man, I think he passed away. He was looking a little fragile, and he had just gotten a puppy. And I gave this one exit. And I'd given him my leftovers, like I was on like the carnivore diet thing, and I had like some grizzle and whatnot that I didn't want. I just gave him the whole container because I had like 2 ribeyes in there. And there's pieces of it that I didn't want. I said, here, give this to the puppy. And I gave him a 20. And then a few weeks had gone by before I had gotten a chance to like route by there. And there's a lady there. And the traffic was moving, so I just can't stop if it's moving, right? So it was like the next morning, and I didn't have any cash on me that day. I'd gone by her a few times, and this time the light was red, and I was like, hurry before the light changes. She goes, I saw you yesterday. I said, I'm so sorry. The lights were like not, and I didn't have any cash. So here's for yesterday and here's for the day. She was selling the papers. I was like, keep your papers. But this is just for you. Yep. They're selling the papers. Now they've got this thing down here in Nashville. My mom says, I always get the paper. And I was like, I don't need the fucking paper. I just give them the damn money. Let them keep the paper. Make money off the paper with other people. That kind of thing. And so when I'm on the bike, they usually have one perched on the exit that I get off of to go get bike serviced or, whatnot. And yeah, I'd be like, I ain't got time to be stashing any papers. Just here, take this and suck it. Yeah. A lot of times, like when the money that I get, like there's a couple of finishers I got. There's one footing guy. He always tips me. Always. Um, if he's there, he'll tip me. Um, I usually take his tips and I redonate them. So I hold them in my wallet. Now my mom comes and cleans my house and she likes to get cash, so I just go to the ATM and I get her cash, or I get money when I grocery shop to get her cash. But my tip money, I typically will regift it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Every single time. Within a couple days, I'll see somebody who, and it's like I gotta, I don't know, I'm kind of selective. It's like if I see a young guy out there, it's like, no, get your head out of your ass, clean up. If it's older people, I know the struggle. I know the struggle for older people, and yeah, I kind of, you know, I have a soft spot for them in that regard. So anyway, that guy had been standing on, the one guy that had the puppy. He'd been standing on that corner. I probably give him, over the course of the last 9 years and times that I've gone through there, about 150 bucks. Every time I go through there, it's like I get him once a day. If I pass him 7 times because of one job, I just give him a peace sign after I give him the 20. But yeah, and he'll wave and whatnot. But yeah, that's how many times I've passed him. He was there a long fucking time, but I think he passed away. Homelessness ain't no joke. I've been there. And it doesn't matter how they got there. It's a lot of people, they screwed up, and other people, they just gave up. That's simple as, whatever. But Jacob Whelan's talk about who you are outside of your occupation is a damn good self-evaluation. Like, who are you? I am my mother's savage daughter. That's who I am. And that's like the skills that I listed, that is just tip of the iceberg. I know how to do so many different things. And I can say, honestly, jack of all trades, master of none, or just a polymath. I'm polymath. And I'm polymath intrigued. There's like a whole universe of information on YouTube that I entertain, that a lot of it I don't even talk about. I talk about the stuff that is on the surface right now, trending, and that we're dealing with, and it's kind of turning into an issue, like narcissistic abuse. Abuse of any kind, especially psychological abuse. Psychological abuse, whether it's narcissist related or any other cluster B or cluster A or cluster C, because they all have their nuances. People are being victimized by this because we have societal norms that prevent them from exercising boundaries for fear of losing their job, losing their stability, their income, their, comforts. Yeah. The boundaries are put on the back burner in order to save face and stay comfortable. But when you're with a narcissist, if you do not exercise boundaries, they are going to make your life uncomfortable. In which, had you exercised boundaries, you wouldn't have had to deal with that discomfort ever at all. Something to think about. But yeah, I had aspired. I got 5 minutes before my thing goes. I had aspired to do stone facing. I had a friend in the military while I was in the military. Her husband had a company, sold for millions of dollars, but because he wanted to retire, he inherited it from his dad. Basically, they did all sorts of different molds of like river rock, stone facing, stack stones, whatnot. And they made all of these different patterns. Slate, whatever. And they sold it by the pallet or by, weight. And it was the individual stuff. It wasn't the panels. It was each individual, type of thing. And I was like, yeah, I can buy the molds for that. I have molds for it. In the garage. They ain't been used yet. I also have stamps, stacked stone stamps for doing vertical escape type of things. And that is what I aspired to do when I had left the military. But somehow, some way, the trucking industry and being a truck driver in the military kind of fell into this pretty easy. But the desire to be my own boss and do that kind of work is still there. I would love to be able to, go out on my own. That is the dream, to be my own business and do that type of work. Costs a lot of money to get started. I had a lot of money at that time. I could probably build it up. I could probably, use my 401k to facilitate. I don't know. But stone, concrete, mortar, vertical scapes, stone face, stuff like that. Yeah, that is my that is what I love. I love it. Fucking love it. Now, will I ever own a facility like that? Probably not. But, it's what I've always been passionate about, and I would love to work in a facility. And they probably don't get paid shit, but maybe I could own the facility and have 3 workers that earn real good. Teach them how to do it. Buy the molds, buy the vibration tables, figure out the mixes, stock the colors, get a reach truck and a forklift and pallets and shrink wrap machine. It's nice to dream, but that's my passion. Yep. Anything with concrete is my passion. Who am I? I'm a fucking rockhead. That's what I love concrete. I love stone, rock, natural scapes, name it. Yes. But who am I? I'm a polymath. I know a little bit about a lot, but not everything about everything. Know who you are. That's the point of his talk. Know who you are. That's the point of my talk. Have a great night.